Yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Woo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Thursday. What is going on? This is the Lions Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne. It is 9 a.m. and
we're going to bite a kneecap
Dwayne
off.
is in the comments, biting kneecaps already. We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. We are going to cross 52,000 villains today. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you for following. Thank you for liking and sharing this content. We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you to Joe Chap and the boys. That's right. They've helped us out a lot right there. Go over and follow the Detroit Lions News Podcast. And we got a brand new relationship right here, JC Sports. We're very happy to be part of the JC Sports YouTube page. Subscribe to that and the Villain Squad YouTube page, as well as us being on Roku. Now that that is all out of the way, welcome one, welcome all to the Villain Report. And here we are, week 2 of training camp. Week 2 of training camp, which is full pads. Full pads. And here we are on the full pads. And there are a couple things have happened. John Kaminsky tears his MCL. He's out for the regular season. What are we going to do about that? These are the discussions that we've been talking about. Emmanuel Mosley is back. That's another part of the good news that we got this week. He's out there. He's practicing with the ones. He's practicing with the twos. He's out there. We got 4 cornerbacks, and all summer long, we've been talking about those 4 cornerbacks and not even really mentioning Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley was a top-flight cornerback for a very good San Francisco 49er team before he got injured. And he tore one ACL, comes to the Lions, plays 2 snaps, and then tears his other ACL. He has rehab back. Both of his knees have been surgically repaired. And now with the technology that they have, his ACLs and MCLs may be stronger than they were. They put him back on there, and he's out there playing, guys. He's going to be a viable option in the secondary room. And that's even after the 2 first and second round pick. Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson. You brought all these guys in, and Emmanuel Mosley's coming back. That's a beautiful thing. We got some bags that were given out. That's another thing that happened. And who's going to be the next one to get paid? Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker signs a 3-year, $60 million contract extension, keeping the band together. And there's still some money that's on the free agent. We have cap space. So what do we do with that? I don't see if they got the new stuff up yet for Taylor Decker. Oh, yes, it is. I can actually talk about this today. And we're going to know. And I'm going to look at this at the same time you're going to look at this. And we're going to go over this Taylor Decker contract. And here we are on Over the Cap. And we're looking at the Taylor Decker contract. Like I said yesterday, when we were looking at these numbers here for Taylor Decker, that number was $12 million last year. That number was $12 million. They converted it to signing bonus and kicked that can down the road. The signing bonus was $8 million. And then you got a couple of these regular roster bonuses, and then he's going to get more money per game. The workout bonus, the guaranteed salary, and these numbers added up together is going to bring up to your cap number for this year, which is only $10 million. That number was $9 million more than that. And if you look at our cap number now, just like I said yesterday, that the cap number would go up after extending Taylor Decker. Now, I heard some conflicting reports out there, and I'm not going to kill anybody for not understanding about cap because it's very complicated how all those moving numbers work. And even over the cap, they can't get into the details of it because there's all kinds of other little variables. Those contracts are probably pretty big going out there. But Taylor Decker's contract is in, and that's what the contract looks like. Now, we should be able to go in there, and they said that Aleem McNeil would be next on that list. So, Brad Holmes taking care of business. He signs Penei Sewell, re-signs Amon-Ra St. Brown, extends Jared Goff, extends Taylor Decker here, and now, as you were looking at this cap, number, the Lions cap is at $42 million, a very healthy $42 million. So for all of the pundits that are out there that think that you're screwed by paying all these guys down the road, that's not the way that it works. That's not the way that it works, folks. Because when you look at these numbers down the road. Let's take a look at these numbers down the road a little bit, right? So we went over Taylor Decker's number down. This base salary is down from $12 million. They were able to create about $9 million worth of cap space, roughly between $8 and $9 million. And that was all based off of extending Taylor Decker, keeping the band together, and being a contender for the next 4 years. Now, let's look at 2025. Now, let's look at these numbers. You got cap number. Now, Jared Goff's number is going to stay about the same, about $32 million. This is next year's cap. Frank Ragnow's cap number, $14 million, was all about the same. Now, Taylor Decker's cap number is a lot bigger next year. Now, that's okay, because you just created that cap space right there. So it looks like Taylor Decker's contract is going to hit next year, while Jared Goff's and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, their contracts are manageable. And that's why Taylor Decker's is a lot higher next year. I can see them actually doing this. And with all that cap space that they'll be able to create, they'll still have $25 million worth of cap space. And that's even with the $23 million cap hit for next year. They're keeping this band together. They're staggering these contracts in a good way. Now, where they get in trouble right here, supposedly, is in this third year where Jared Goff's, oh my God, $69 million. What are we going to do? $69 million. What are we going to do? Frank Ragnow in the last year of his contract right there at $16 million. Taylor Decker's at $21 million. Penei Sewell goes up to $28 million. But you still have all these guys that are still on the books, and this is 2 years down the road. This is 2026. This screwed over year that we have, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown's at $33 million. What are we gonna do? Well, let's go over here to this side. This $33 million. See that $27 million right there? That's year 3 of Amon-Ra's deal. You know what that means? You can convert this $27 million to signing bonus, and then you can restructure Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract at this point and free up to $27 million of that 33. If you wanted to free up cap space there, if you wanted to free up cap space from Penei Sewell, his base salary is $19 million. The cap with Penei Sewell. Jared Goff's base salary is $55 million. He could convert most of that contract to salary and kick that can down the road. So what does this mean? Oh, Rush, you're saying a whole lot of nothing right there. No, I'm not saying a whole lot of nothing. That means it's almost like if you really look at it, all these base salaries from 2026, you can almost look at it like equity for your future with these numbers. Like, you don't know if you need that number, right? The cap space in 2026 as of right now is $46 million, right? But if you need more money, you can get $55 million here. You could extend Frank Ragnow. You can get another $11 million there. You could get $14 million here. You could get $19 million here. You could get $27 million here. They're going to have options. Now, why doesn't every team do this? What they try. That's the thing. How does this not work? I guess that's a better question. How does that not work? Well, it doesn't work when your players are trash. So this is going to work, keeping these players, keeping the band together. Brad Holmes continues to draft well. That's the caveat to this. You have to continue to draft well. Because when you draft well, then you're looking at some of the other parts of these deals right here. Let's go down here a little bit further. In that third Campbell's only playing for $4 million. Raymond's only got playing for $1 million. Terrion Arnold's still on a $3 million deal. Sam Laporta's still on a $3 million deal. Now, I understand that these guys got to be paid, but do they all need to be paid? Which one of these guys that are still on rookie deals are going to be the guys in 2026? We don't know that. And that's why it's a good idea to extend these guys now, because you're getting the best market value out of your good players. And that way you have the Super Bowl window. And in 2026, you're going to have to make a move in there to move some of that money around. But you're going to probably be able to continue to compete as long as these guys don't regress. Dwayne's in there. Paul Jones. Good morning, Russ. Elise, the queen of memes, is in here. Good morning, Russell. Good morning, villains. Football starts today. Yeah, sure. The Hall of Fame game, they're going to be out there with the flags. They're going to be pumping their fists. It's going to be great, but it's not our team. Football starts next week for us, but we are a week away from football. Any way you want to look at it. If it's Lions, it's fine. We're going to look at real football tonight. It may not be exciting football. You get to see the third strings against the second strings. You're going to see roster battles. But who knows? Jeremy Ballrick is in the house.
You like that? Say hello to my little friend. Say hello to my little friend.
And then Jeremy says that Aleem will be next. And I believe that is correct because that is exactly what Brad Holmes had said. Brad Holmes had said that now that is done, that Aleem McNeil would be the next on the list. I mean, keep it going. Keep going. Keep that band together. Like I just broke down those contracts right there. We are not cap strapped, guys. These are good contracts that they got with a lot of flexibility with the way that they were worded here, right? You got the 3 contracts that they signed earlier in the offseason that hit really, really hard in 2 years. And Taylor Decker's contract hits next year while the other 2 are low. So, gosh, that Brad Holmes is a straight up G, dude. This dude right here is a straight up G. I mean, he can't miss. I'm not a has he, like the guys that we look are the ones that are good reports out of the camp right now. And Dan Campbell isn't one to just say stuff to say stuff. Right? I mean, Dan Campbell's the kind of guy that even if you're bad, he's going to kind of call you out indirectly like he did last year with Jameson Williams. Tell him that you get out there. You didn't. So what does he do? That pushes Jameson Williams to go through all the way to the off season, and he goes out and he's working out with Teddy Bridgewater, and he's beasting in the camp. I mean, they can't cover him in the camp. The speed was undeniable about that, but this is one of the guys that you thought that might have been a bust. Oh, yeah, Brad Holmes, you spent too much money. Okay, maybe he went too high on that draft pick or whatever, but the guy's still on the team. Like, almost every player that Brad Holmes has drafted is still on the team and contributing in some form of way. I mean, even the 7th round picks. I mean, the only guy that's not on the team is Chase Lucas, and he's on San Francisco's roster. I mean, the Lions are used to the culture being that you play here, you get drafted, and you play your 4 years, and then you get out of hell, and then you get to go play for somebody. You get to go get a contract somewhere else. I mean, now you got, all these guys are contributing. I mean, our practice squad and our guys that we cut on the 53-man roster, they're going to be sought after. Instead of us scouring the trash heaps trying to see if we can't find a good player in the waiver wire. Oh, we got to get a couple more. We don't have that problem. We don't have a roster problem. We have the problem that we have. We got too many guys. Our problem is we got to get rid of good guys. That's amazing to me. Even last year when you're going into the offseason, we had holes. I don't think that too many logical Lions fans predicted that the Lions would go to the NFC Championship and compete for a Super Bowl and like win the Super Bowl. No one's like, yeah, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. We ain't got no roster holes. Last year we had roster holes, and we were hoping that we could overcome them. We had a trash secondary. We were hoping that going into 2023 that we could overcome the trash secondary. Couple injuries later, our secondary was not good last year. This is the first season where we're going into a season, and it really looks like there's not the holes. I mean, you want to make an argument about going out and getting Matthew Judon because Kaminsky's gone? I'm not going to hurt you for that. That's okay. You can say that. It's okay. Getting in here. You got Aleem will be next. I'm getting back into the comments right here. Jeremy says that it's why they aren't trading for anyone this season. All those contracts are bargains. And they're bargains because of, and that's a great point.
You like that?
They're bargains because of the way that they're staggered and the fact that we got it done first. We got it done first. And now all these other teams are signing their guys, like Tristan Wirfs just got signed. He's not better than Penei Sewell. You know, Christian Darrisaw got signed after Penei Sewell got more money. He ain't better than Penei Sewell. Brad Holmes is just smart. He got the contract done first. Fred Peterson's in the house.
Say hello to my little friend.
He says, good morning. It's a great day to be a Lions fan.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Jeremy B says Houston has been very disappointing. So Houston's, I haven't heard much out of Houston. I mean, I don't know about disappointing. I think that there's so many of the other guys that are doing well. Like the report about Levi Onwuzurike that makes me so happy because that was a guy I really, really liked coming out of Washington. And when you go defensive tackle round 2 and round 3 in year 1, you were like, oh yeah, here's the future. Well, we might actually get a chance to see it this year because Levi Onwuzurike last year, we were hoping that he could make the roster, and that's kind of where we were at this year. We had him on the bubble. He ain't anywhere close to the bubble right now. As of right now, he looks like the starting defensive tackle next to Aleem McNeil, and that's the way that Dan Campbell said that he's playing. So I don't know about Houston. That's disappointing if he's not doing well, but we can say, it's early about that, but I really want to see Houston turn into that dog
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
that we thought that he could. But when you look at our defensive line, they're so different. Like all of the pass rushers, they pass rush different than each other. So I really think that all these guys are good enough to be on the field, and depending on which offensive linemen that you're going up against are going to be the ones that I think that Aaron Glenn and Terrell Williams is going to be throwing at them. And Steve, we're moving to Steve right here. Jared Goff was 47th in the NFL top 100 list. Hutchinson was 46 in the NFL's top 100. Jordan, the money man Love, is 37. Believe in the NFL top 100. Yeah, Jordan Love was rated higher on the top 100 list than Jared Goff. And I don't mind that, by the way. Jared Goff, and the thing is like, I think Jared Goff could be a top 10 in the NFL in quarterbacks, but he's never going to get that love because he doesn't run out of the pocket. He could be the most accurate quarterback in the world. They're still not going to rate him high, and they're always going to give him demerits due to the fact that you got Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, and Taylor Decker on your offensive line protecting you. So I don't mind they put Jordan Love higher than Jared Goff because, after Jordan Love is your highest rated player, and the Lions have more really good players than the Packers do. They have a lot more guys that have already taken the step that your Green Bay Packers are hoping to take this year. The same thing that you told us last year after 9-8, pump the brakes. You got to do it again. That's what I'm saying to Green Bay Packer fan. You got a lot of players that are young and that have a lot of potential that have not taken that step. You can say that you have the best wide receiver core in the league, but none of those guys have taken that upper, top tier 1 step. Now, you got 4 guys on your wide receiver crew that could take that step next year. So there's reason to be optimistic if you're a Packer fan. But you got Jordan Love, you got that, put that feather in your cap.
It's my quarterback.
He got rated by the players a few slots higher than Jordan Love. And I think that Jordan Love was actually rated higher than that. I believe that he's 34. I could be wrong on that. Jeremy B says they moved him to third string Sam duties, using him in coverage again. Well, they got to see if you can do it, Jeremy. I mean, Dan Campbell isn't afraid to put people in the positions. Emmanuel Mosley was also playing first string slot. So I believe that, the first week in training camps, they're trying these players in a lot of different spots. And when you have depth, I mean, really, we're trying to find the best guys that are out there. And I don't know about putting him at Sam. They want to he's such a good pass rusher, Jeremy, that they want to get him out there more. They want to have him out there on those linebacker plays. But if he can't be out there and be a benefit to the run, I mean, he may be that one-trick pony that is just going to go out there on pass downs. And that's okay, too. For a 6th-round pick, to get a guy that's going to get a sack once out of every 7 snaps, that's pretty good. That's okay for him. You don't need him out there for run stuffing. And we don't really need a linebacker either. So even if he does play Sam duties, I don't think that he's going to be really high on that linebacker depth chart. But, you can't fault him for trying that. Thank you for that comment. Fred Peterson. Hard work beats talent every time. J-Mo knew that he had no option but to put more work in. I have a really good feeling J-Mo is going to have his breakout this year.
You like that? You like that? You like that? You like that?
I am cautiously optimistic on this, but the speed, the God-given abilities that Jamison Williams has, like without him even being able to run a route, just the fact that he's the fastest guy on every field that he's on is dangerous. Is very, very dangerous. And I think that not only is he going to have a breakout season, but I also think that he's going to assist Jahmyr Gibbs in his breakout season. Jeremy says that he's been officially listed as a bubble watch guy. Hey, who's going to make it? We got a good problem, Jeremy. Defenses are going to have a hard time defending this offense. Best O-line in the league. 2 great backs. They are faster, and they will pound the rock, cover St. Brown underneath, and Jamo over the top. If Jamison is a top 15 wide receiver, it's over. Like, the other NFC North teams are praying to God, please don't let Jamison Williams be that guy. Because if he's that guy, and you're going to add him to this offense that was a top 5 offense without him, come on, man.
It's my quarterback.
Jeremy says he has lost a step in his bend. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I don't need to talk about Houston anymore if he ain't gonna make the team. Steve says defenses are gonna have fun trying to cover Wicks, Reed, Watson, and Dobbs, and Jacobs and Musgrave, and so on. I agree with you, but I believe that they're going to have more trouble stopping Amon-Ra St. Brown Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and a better offensive line. So you have a poor man's version of what we have with a quarterback that's slightly higher, but our offensive line's way better than yours. So I'm not as scared of your defense. We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to get pressure on your quarterback. We're going to try to sack Jordan Love a lot. That's how you beat a guy like that. And Mosley is showing out. Let's go. Let's go.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
I love it. Houston is still recovering from the broken ankle. Hasn't had one good pass rush snap yet. Well, maybe they should just let him recover. I mean, they're paying $1.50 a year for him. I mean, he's it's like nothing on the cap right there. I am so encouraged about this comment right here, Jeremy. When you're talking about Emmanuel Mosley, E-Man, like that had to be the biggest surprise to me out of this camp. I mean, the Levi Onwuzurike, is this fool's gold right here? I don't think so, because I was showing some evidence on Levi Onwuzurike even last year. Even last year when you go in there, and I could bring that up right now. Let me go find this Levi stuff here from PFF. Because what hurts Levi was the injury. And there we go. Now, let me share this tab instead, and boom. There, Levi Onwuzurike last year in limited snaps. I mean, the back injury is the reason that he wasn't there, but 68.1 as an overall grade on PFF is decent. And a pass rush grade of 70.6. He was showing signs last year. He didn't have a lot of snaps, guys. Just about 100, looks like about 100 and some change in snaps right here. But Levi Onwuzurike was showing the signs last year that he was starting to get it. And then he comes in the offseason. This dude puts on like 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. And with that back surgery, it looks like his back is holding up. Levi Onwuzurike is not one of those guys that was on bust watch because he wasn't playing good. Levi Onwuzurike was on bust watch because he couldn't get on the field. And if this guy is getting on the field right now, and Dan Campbell said that he was the best player. He was the best player in the middle of the defense. And Aleem McNeil's on that defense. He's on that defensive line. So if Dan Campbell's saying that Levi Onwuzurike is the best defender in the middle of that defense in training camp, he's saying that he's better than Aleem McNeil. And that's cool. That's cool. To me, that's not a slight on Aleem McNeil. That means that Brad Holmes is a G. Like, the one spot that you looked at is a weakness in the Brad Holmes drafts, and there it is. And he's starting to show out. Now, I was thinking, man, could Levi Onwuzurike, is he going to make this team? I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to make this team now. I mean, unless he gets injured again, but it looks like it's pretty strong. Levi has been playing more outside, rotating with Davenport at DN because Pascal has been underwhelming as well. Well, okay, that's cool. I mean, you got a new defensive line coach. And I think that really all of the guys are gaining something from the new defensive line coach. So when you look at most guys progressing, because I haven't heard any of this stuff about Pascal not playing well. I haven't heard Houston not playing well. I've just heard these other players that are playing well. because I haven't heard much criticisms through it. So if a guy ain't making the front page of what's happening in training camp, that, you know, there's still a long way to go. I mean, it is too early to say a guy's too good, is good, or he ain't gonna make the team yet. But these are where you get the good signs. Houston isn't even playing with the second string defense. For 9 games, that's, if you include the playoffs, that's laughable. Are we talking about, did we change? We're arguing about the Packers again. I love how all these shows can get this way. Steve's in there. They're going to have to do all this. Wow, how are you going to stop my offense that played good for 9 games? I can't wait to see my offense. According to Campbell yesterday, Betts competing with Derek Barnes with the first string Sam. He's impressed with the coaches this year, and Broderick Martin has been doing good too. I read something different from Campbell from that press conference, Jeremy, that Dan Campbell says stuff sometimes without saying stuff. And when he talked about him playing at the Sam linebacker, he also mentioned that was too much for him, that they were going to have to dial back the Matthew Betts, that they wanted to take a lot off of his place because he was getting a little bit overwhelmed. But that doesn't, he didn't come off as discouraging when he said it, but I read between the lines when he made that comment that said that, you know, maybe they were impressed with him right off the bat and they tried to shovel a whole bunch on him. And it was like, whoa, okay. Now, he moves well in space. And that would be really, really cool where he can make his mark, Matthew Betts. I hope that he makes his team for this. But he can do some special teams. He can also back up that Sam linebacker position, and he can back up those pass rushing positions. I do not think that he's going to make the team as a starter. I haven't read anything that would lead me to believe that. Marcus Davenport and Levi Owens-Enrique are slotted ahead as defensive end, to your point, where Levi was going in and out, and you're using him as a big end. I like that. Can anyone find out what Levi's middle name is, Garrett? I don't know. Owens-Enrique. Maybe, is it Zurike? I'm saying the cream is rising to the top because Williams coaching. I was talking about love ranking. It's a data set of 1. That's right. The love ranking. The 9 games. 9 games. What is that? What is that? $55 million a year? What is that broken apart in 9 games? They paid that man. Big Dan Davis, what's up?
Say hello to my little friend.
Concerning Betts, yes, he is competing, playing at the Sam spot, but I think that they're trying to add versatility to his game. They are trying, giving this kid every opportunity to make the team. Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I really like the idea of getting that sack leader from the CFL and seeing what he could do here. You know, I think that, you know, if you're out there hoping that Betts is going to make the team, going to be an impact player, starter, 10 plus sacks or something like that, you might, that might be a little bit of a stretch. And if he does that, I mean, is Brad Holmes, I'm going to start building a statue. Oh, Jeremy says Levi doesn't have a middle name. Yeah. His middle name is Anzu. And then his last name is Rike. Levi Anzu Rike. Okay. I try. I think Betts does make this team. He's that good. Yeah. Good depth piece. The key thing that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell said about Matthew Betts is special teams. Like, if he can make an impact on special teams, then he is going to be out there. That was one of the comments that Dan Campbell said. You know, he's going to be out there. Special teams, that makes it almost a lock that you have to bring him up on the roster and play. You know what, Steve? You do such a good job at this. And you pay attention, you ask questions rather than be the know-it-all out here. I love that you do this because it gives me a chance to answer questions rather than just try to react to what other people's opinions are. So here's a tough question. Better wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Calvin Johnson? Are we here yet? Are we in the spot? Is it okay for us to put this question out here right now? Who's better? Calvin Johnson's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. How can you say that, Steve? But when is it right? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't look stoppable. He's not guardable. He gets open. He has more third down catches in key moments than any other wide receiver. He's clutch. He's clutch. Now, Calvin Johnson maybe was actually, I'm answering your question right here. Calvin Johnson was the most amazing jump ball guy in history. I mean, you couldn't cover him out there with 5 guys, and they jump up. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's more clutch than Calvin Johnson ever was. As a matter of fact, Calvin Johnson wasn't very clutch at all. Actually, I can remember in the top of my head, as soon as I think Calvin Johnson, I think of punching the ball out of the back of the end zone in that Seahawks game. I think of him fumbling the ball, like after he catches a big catch. I think of Calvin Johnson making some of the most amazing plays ever. Most amazing plays ever by any wide receiver, Calvin Johnson. Amazing. But if you ask me right now, if I would take a prime Calvin Johnson or a prime where I guess we have Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, I would take Amon-Ra St. Brown because of what he means to this team over Calvin Johnson. I would. Give me prime. If you had prime Calvin Johnson, Mike, and you had this Amon-Ra St. Brown, what would you take? This is the tough question right here.
I don't think this is a tough question. Calvin Johnson is an all-time great. Currently, Amon-Ra is a great. He's an all-pro. But Megatron, are you kidding me? Right now, Amon-Ra is coming into his prime. He's not even there yet. So this comparison's not fair. Let's let Amon-Ra be in the league for 10 years, look back, then let's compare. Because right now, there is no comparison. Calvin Johnson was not only the best wide receiver in the game, he was the most dangerous player probably to ever play in the NFL. And it's not fair to Amon-Ra to compare him to a guy like that. Now, if you want to compare Amon-Ra to, let's say, a Chris Carter, I would take Amon-Ra every day. You want to compare him to Art Monk, I would take Amon-Ra every day. These guys who were, even the guys, some of the guys in the elite category, I certainly believe that the Sun God will be there at some point. But right now, it's not fair to compare him to Megatron.
Well, it was brought up by a Packer fan, Steve, but you know what? Here's a tough question. I think it's tougher than you think because I remember Calvin Johnson. I remember him for a 5-year stretch was the most unstoppable wide receiver ever during that 5-year stretch. And even during that 5-year stretch, there were some moments that I think Amon-Ra just succeeds more. He succeeds more in the places that we really need him. Now, if you need a big ass catch and you need him to jump over somebody and make a catch, that I get it. That he's the greatest ever at that. But if I need 5 yards on third down, Amon-Ra's better. He's better than Calvin Johnson ever was on third down.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Okay. Do you remember Seattle Do you remember him catching the ball in the most clutch moment, could win the game, and the ball getting punched out of his hands into the back of the end zone on a controversial call? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also remember him catching another big pass down and then him fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line? I remember. I remember these things. Calvin Johnson would make the catch, and not very much after the catch. I'm just trying to make a case. The toughest question, I have the burden of proof here if I'm going to try to pick it for Amon-Ra St. Brown. To your point, it's way too early to have this discussion. But with what Amon-Ra St. Brown has done, first 3 years of Amon-Ra's career, first 3 years of Calvin's career, it is definitely a conversation that is going to get closer and closer and closer to being had year after year if Amon-Ra keeps up the trajectory that he's on. So it's way too early to do it right now. You can't really say it now. You can't really say it right now, but you can't say that Amon-Ra St. Brown hasn't done everything to move him towards that. Oh, I hope I answered that right without losing all the viewers going, I can't believe you'd say Amon-Ra's already better than Calvin. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there are elements to his game that are better than Calvin's. Fred Peterson said, this is a question that, in my opinion, cannot be comparable. Regardless of what people say, they are two different wide receivers.
You like that?
That's about the most fairest way that you can say it right there. Like, it's like that comparison I love that always comes up between Jordan and LeBron. It's like, why the hell are you comparing these two guys? Because they both score a lot? Because they didn't play the same position. You should be comparing Jordan to Kobe. You should be comparing LeBron to Charles Barkley. So let's get these things right. Let's get these comparisons right. You shouldn't compare Calvin to Amon-Ra. You should compare Calvin to Terrell Owens. You should compare Calvin to other guys that jump up and leap and contest catch with other people. You should compare Amon-Ra to Chris Carter. You're right. You're right. I like that.
You like that?
Jeremy coming in, backing me up here. 3 years statistically has better stats than Calvin, but Calvin has a plethora of BU quarterbacks throwing to him those first 3 years. That's true. I mean, are you not a Kitna fan? Are you telling me you don't like John Kitna?
It's my quarterback.
Oh, Calvin Johnson and Amon-Ra, who's better? I believe Amon-Ra is better all the way around wide receiver because he can do more. Calvin was a better deep threat jump ball guy. Amon-Ra is better. He does more. So there's Big Dan Davis agreeing with those parts of my argument. Mike Fisher says, when considering past stars from the Lions, think about the rest of the team surrounding them. It makes them automatically better than their stats. I think this is a cop-out right here, Mike, and I love you, man. I think that these are cop-outs when it comes to the past, right? The past. You know what Amon-Ra St. Brown has in his past? 3-13-1 during his rookie year. So if you want to say comparable bad teams, Calvin played on such an awful team. I don't know about that. I think Calvin played on a pretty good Lions team through the Caldwell years, through the Schwartz years. And I think that we just look back at the Lions past and we just automatically think that all those teams were awful and they've just been shitty year after year after year. And that's not true. They went through a good stretch there. Won a couple games here and there. It's definitely not the best history in the world, but it hasn't all been awful. So if you're comparing Calvin to Megatron or Megatron to Amon-Ra St. Brown, then it's not fair to say Calvin just played on the shittier team, because Amon-Ra St. Brown played on a 3-13-1 team, and he was on a team that has been built. This team was built. There was nothing given to this team. They are where they are at right now because they've progressed and gotten better and better and better, and then here they are. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get dropped on some awesome team with a great offensive line and great everything. They didn't. They had to work it up. 3-13-1. So don't tell me that Calvin Johnson was on some awful team, because Amon-Ra St. Brown took this team from 3-13-1, and it's not all him, but he was very much part of that build, that turnaround, and that's why he got $28 million a year. Using the same data sets, Megatron's first 3 years versus Amon-Ra's first 3 years, Amon-Ra is way ahead. It's true. It's true. We try to root our arguments in fact, and when we do that, you say it almost comes off as disrespectful to Calvin, doesn't it? How can you say that? Well, it's true. I can't help it. I'm just reading off the stat book here, and Amon-Ra was better. So Megatron's second set of 3 years with Stafford throwing 3 straight years, that would be the equivalent of the first 2 wide receivers with starting quarterback talent. And that's true. That's fair too. But it's going to come down to this, that, the Minnesota Vikings had Chris Carter and Randy Moss, right? So the Lions are just going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Calvin Johnson in the lineage. And no one would really argue that Randy Moss is better than Chris Carter, would they? I mean, that's right. Randy Moss is better than Chris Carter, but they're 2 all-time greats. Are they 2 top 20 wide receivers? I think when this is all said and done, I had this argument a couple days ago, Mike, where I was talking about, gosh, that is driving me crazy, dude.
What's driving you crazy?
You keep, it's distracting. I'm getting in the middle of a take, and I got to not look at your screen because you keep on popping off every time.
I'll make it easy for you.
Oh, God. All right. So Paul Jones says St. Brown's route running gets him open, best route runner in the game. Is that true? Amon-Ra St. Brown the best at route running in the entire NFL?
One of, for sure. One of the best.
Let's see if we got anything else in here. Yeah, we do have a bunch of other comments, but I want to get to some of these other things that I had here. I had a nice little slide right here. Do you have any comments on Levi Onwuzurike emerging as a force in the middle of the D? Are you buying this, Mike?
I didn't we hear this last year also?
No.
In training camp, we heard the same thing, that Levi's really showing out. He might be great.
We didn't. No, we heard.
I'm not
that
sold.
Well, but I'm answering your question. We didn't hear that last year. We didn't hear anything in training camp about Levi being great. As a matter of fact, we heard Levi coming into training camp with a back problem, a lower back problem that he just couldn't seem to get over, and that he was working his ass through it, and he was hoping to make the back end of the roster.
Well,
what they are saying this year, Mike, what Dan Campbell said this year is that Levi Onwuzurike is the best defensive tackle in training camp. And
Jeremy Ballreich agrees with me. We absolutely did hear that last year, that Levi was showing out in training camp. So I believe it when I see it. And we should mark this on the calendar, Russ. One of these comments here, Jeremy Ballreich actually made a mistake. He was wrong. He says Chris Carter's better than Randy. He stayed with Minnesota his entire career. Not true. Chris Carter played for the Philadelphia Eagles as well. Better mark that on your calendar. Smoking Jeremy B's not wrong a lot.
I, you guys have the burden of proof to me with them. I need to see an article or something from last year spouting off about Levi Onwuzurike because I don't remember that at all. I remember back problems for year one, a growing injury year one. I remember year two, back problems, back surgery, recovering from the back surgery. Last offseason had. Now, they did give him compliments of him working through the surgery. Year three, we thought that he was going to be off the team. That was the fluff that was given to him. The fluff that's being given to him this year is that he's the best defensive tackle on the team during training camp, with a training camp that has Aleem McNeil in it. I don't remember Levi Onwuzurike ever. You got to show me. You guys both. You guys can do that. You got 24 hours. But Levi was not being touted as the best defensive tackle on the team at any point in his career up until this year. Now, it's okay to not believe in him. It's okay. Jury's still out. You guys aren't buying it yet. That's fine. But let's not put false narratives out there.
Well, they have a term for it. It's called a TCD, a training camp darling.
Yeah, he was not a training camp darling last year. Let's see. Jonah Jackson to miss the preseason for the Rams, Mike.
Yeah. They say it's a bruised scapula, which, if you don't know, that's your shoulder blade. That would be really hard for an offensive lineman to have a bum shoulder blade. So crucial to their technique, using their hands and their arms. They say that he possibly could be back for the season opener against the Lions. Part of me hopes he is, and part of me hopes he isn't. I want to beat him at full strength. But, hey, any advantage you can get would be great. And, training camp injuries happen. And John Kaminsky was the biggest one so far for the Lions. I think we're very fortunate that it happened at a position where we have 4 and 5 guys that rotate in and out of that position for that injury to occur. Every team around the NFL suffers training camp injuries. You just hope that it's not to your real impact players like this would be for the Rams. Jonah Jackson, a $51 million offensive lineman. If he misses any time at all, that significantly hurts their chances of winning. So, we love Jonah and all, but I hope he misses the season opener.
Jonah Jackson, yeah, $17 million a year over there in LA. And I'm so used to when the Lions get rid of somebody that they go become like this superstar at this other place, and you're like, oh, we had these guys, now they're, look at them, and now it seems like it's kind of the opposite of that. Now they leave Detroit and then they fall off the tricycle. And all of a sudden there's, it's not so good. Jamal Williams, averaging 3.1 yards a carry as a backup running back. And it's like, it just seems like all of these guys, they now they're starting to seem to get rid of them just at the right time. And then it's the next man up. And I think that's awesome as a Lions fan to be able to experience that for once in our life. Did you see any part of the beginning? Because they brought the Taylor Decker numbers out.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Let me get I can do this because I wanted to go over this again just so I can show everybody, because I love being able to do this type of stuff right here. So the numbers came out. And if you already heard this, I'm sorry, you can tune me out right here. But here's the numbers for the Taylor Decker contract right here. As you know, yesterday we were looking at this number, and that number was $12 million, right, Mike?
Yeah.
This was 12. Well, they moved the base salary all the way down to $1.2 million, which moved the cap number down from $19 million to $10 million, which now makes, what did I say, Mike? $42 million. Yep.
Made that number bigger.
So they have the means now to re-sign Aleem McNeil. So they got one done to get the other one done. And look at this interesting thing. Here's another thing I brought up that I just discovered live while we were doing it today. But look at in the second year, dude. Taylor Decker's number goes up to 14 million right here. And this is where Jared Goff is only at 32 million. You still got Amon-Ra St. Brown are only at 13 million, right? Look at Taylor Decker's number. 23 million. Brad Holmes is brilliantly staggering these contracts because the big hit for Sewell, Amon-Ra, and Goff come in 26. The big hit for Decker comes next year. So they're staggering these contracts, and they're going to be in just fine shape in 2 years because they're going to have about $100 million worth of equity from the Sewell, Amon-Ra, and Goff's contract that if they need $20-30 million, it's going to be, ain't no big deal. Yeah. Restructure, sign the dude that we need. Restructure, sign the dude that we need. And the only way that this doesn't work is if the players are bad. And we know that, I mean, are you worried about Penei Sewell signing a big contract and him not being a good left tackle or a right tackle? No. Are you worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown being bad all of a sudden? No. These are good extensions. These are good restructures with equity from our good players. I love it. 6 to 8 weeks for the Jonah Jackson recovery, according to Jeremy. Fred Peterson's, no way, Fred. Jonah Jackson injured. It's like, it almost seems too good to be true sometimes with some of this stuff. You are watching the Villain Report. It's 9 a.m. every single morning. Week 2 training camp. We are in it. We are in it. There's real football tonight, Mike. No, it's not real football, but preseason football. Tonight, there's going to be a game. The Hall of Fame game with Bears. With no Caleb Williams. So,
Caleb Williams is not going to play?
That's what I heard. I don't know if they're going to change it at the last second, but as of yesterday, there might be news that broke this morning.
Interesting. Why would you not let your rookie quarterback go out there and get a taste of a preseason series, at least one series? Why would you not? That mystifies me. Those reps are important for that kid. I'm really surprised that I had not heard that, and you're really shocking me that he's not going to play at all.
Well, I mean, let's look at it. It's Caleb Williams putting it into the old computer board. Game day, the Bears, good thing that I'm looking for any type of report here.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to mention Jeremy has mentioned in the comments that the Lions signed a member of the Michigan Panthers, an offensive guard named Jake Burton, signed him this morning to replace Netane Muti, who is needing season-ending shoulder surgery. So good call out from Jeremy B.
I am getting a confirmation, Pro Football Talk. Caleb Williams will not play in the Hall of Fame game as of 1 day ago. And
that means he must look really, really good in camp, and they're confident.
Or they don't want to embarrass him if he's not looking good in camp.
They want him to develop a little more before they trot him out there. It's just too soon. Maybe the next preseason game or maybe the one after that, they'll still trot him out there. That's interesting.
Okay, well, it's interesting. It seems like it would be more probable than like a guy being like, oh, how often does that happen where a rookie's so good that he doesn't need practice? Like, I don't know if I've ever heard of that, Mike.
Right.
Oh, let's see. I think I hit all of my stuff. I mean, we could hit the who gets signed next by Brad Holmes. If Aleem is the next one, who would you sign after that, or would you just, put your hands up, put your cards up to your chest until next offseason?
I think if Fatu Melifonwu would be one because he's not going to command top of the market value. You could get a deal done now instead of next year, where he might command more if he has a great season this year. The last 7 games of the season last year, Ifatu Melifonwu was a top 3 safety in the NFC. So if he comes out and shows out again this year, even if he's coming off the bench because of Brian Branch and all the additions to the corners room, I think it would behoove the Lions to get a deal done now while you have this surplus of cap money, to make it a little cheaper on yourself and reward that young man for his outstanding play.
Yeah, he was awesome last year. And we have such a plethora of weapons on our secondary now. It's like I've never seen a secondary transformation quite like this, to where you could get 5 quality starters in one off season like that. And the word around the campfire is that it's Ennis Rakestraw that is the dog out. I mean, I'm not saying that, and Terrion's got very good reports too, but Ennis Rakestraw is turning heads as a guy that is just a ball hawk, punching the balls out, getting interceptions, and just a real pest of a coverage kind of guy. And they may have gotten a steal in the second round, a lot like Brian Branch was last year, where this guy's talent
there
level.
was a Lions insider that said if they didn't move up to get Terrion Arnold and they stayed pat at, 29, that they would have drafted Ennis Rakestraw anyway. Now, is it Ennis or Enos? I don't know. Is it Ennis the Menace or Enos the corner from Missouri? I don't know. But somebody needs to confirm if it's Ennis or Enos, because I hear both. And I think I'm going to go look that up draft day. Roger Goodell, what does he say at the podium? Is it Ennis or Enos? But, man, you look at the tape coming out of camp for this kid. He's a quiet, silent assassin. He's the total opposite of Terrion Arnold. I love this dynamic duo that we've drafted. I hope they live up to the hype and they can play even close to what their potential is. And this is going to be a lockdown secondary if that's the case.
Yeah, and I love listening to them talk about how they're gonna, like, the safeties is with the way that this defense is designed, is the hawk, like is the commander, because everything's running downhill, and these safeties have more opportunities. Like I know that Ifatu Melifonwu had a great season last year, but this is one of those situations, and I love Ifatu Melifonwu. You get put in a position to make the play, right? But I heard that it was like Aaron Glenn was on the sideline going, "All right, Ifatu, we're going to send you in. This play is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and you're going to be able to get an interception right here. Go in there." And Ifatu was talking about this, to where he was like, it was uncanny, because Glenn would send him in there and tell him exactly what was going to happen. He said it was amazing. Like, I'd just be like, "Oh, wow, here's the interception." Like, and Brian Branch has more instincts back there. And I think that him being put into that position to where he has the opportunities to make more plays, it's going to unlock Brian Branch, putting him on that back level. And they couldn't put him there last year because there was nobody to play slot. We were getting eaten up right up in the beginning. They had to put him in the slot because there was nobody else. We had too many injuries, no Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Like, the plans that they had at the beginning of the season kind of went, out the window with the Chauncey Gardner injury and then the Mosley injury. So this new look secondary is going to unlock Brian Branch with those DBs being able to cover in the front with Rakestraw and Arnold and Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson. He's not going to have to be there. They can put him back on that second level and then bring in, Ifatu Melifonwu in reserve. I think that Brian Branch is going to win that back job. Brian Branch, Kirby in the back, and it might be Rakestraw, Arnold, and Carlton Davis.
We
right
do
across.
have conflicting reports in the chat. Jeremy B says it's Ennis, with the short sound. And the Detroit Fan Man says it's a big, thick Enos.
Well, I'm going with Ennis.
Yeah, because we can say Ennis the Menace, and we can make memes, and we can make slides for our show that says Ennis the Menace. Let's go with that.
That we're gonna go with that until we're corrected, and even if we get corrected, we're gonna pretend like we didn't hear him because Ennis the Menace works better.
Enos the meanest.
Enos the meanest, but not Enos the other thing.
It's another 5-letter word rhyming with cleanest and meanest.
That's right. That's right. The nice
Detroit Fan Man says he is girthy.
Yeah. We have these nice, big, thick training camp stories that we are going through.
Fan Man, you got to come on the Monday night show, Detroit Fan Man. 7 p.m. Monday night, the main event. You got to be there. We're a little bit more blue on that show than we are here on the Lions Villain Report in the morning.
Oh, gosh. I think that we got through the stuff. Jeremy says it's what the Missouri game announcer said.
Good enough for me.
And I don't want to get in a pissing match with Jeremy here.
That's good enough for me. Ennis it is.
Oh, my gosh. We went a little bit over today. Let me get some of this beautiful background music in here. We're approaching the end of our show. I wanted to thank everybody for watching. You got anything you want to add, Mike?
Nope. Getting ready to watch some football tonight gets me excited. I love what you're doing here in the morning, Lions Villain Report. Russ, keep it up. Great interaction. We thank everyone for watching, subscribing, and commenting. And I'll see you again on Monday night at 7 p.m.
All right, that's main event Mike right here. That's not offensive line rooms that we're gonna be doing. I gotta find my good slide. I know I had one. Where did it go? Oh gosh, I didn't have any of my stuff ready today. I can't find it. Dang it. Oh, there we go. Top 11. I put defensive lineman, but we're really gonna do pass rush. We have decided to do pass rusher only for our final top 11 list for the 2023 season. And we're doing pass rushers. Who's going to be one of the top pass rushers in the NFC? I'm sure Aiden Hutchinson's going to make it on that list. Where is your guy going to be? Right there. And so you've been watching the Lions Villain Report every day, 9 a.m., live here with your boy, Russell Wayne. We're going to be breaking down all the good news, and we're going Monday through Saturday. We're even going to be on here Saturday. Broadcasting live right now. We are going to hit 42,000 villains today. We are crossing that threshold. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the page. Also broadcasting live Detroit Lions news podcast, joke chat, and the boys. And we're also part of his other network, which we're very happy to be part of, which is the JC Sports YouTube page. So thank you for all the support live on Roku. And with that being said, from Russell Wayne, from Main Event Mike, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tomorrow morning. Villain Report. Peace out.
Closed, hands is open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pencil. Choose when I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me is never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity.